Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Or if you have significant Aries placements in your chart, there may be a message in here for you. Only take it if it resonates. I felt the need to say that. So, Aries, let's get started with your reading. I haven't pulled any cards yet, but I was getting sort of this energy of, it feels kind of like caution, like being very cautious with something, not wanting to make things worse is what was coming through. And it's coming through with an example of something that happened yesterday to me. If you've been watching a couple of my videos, you'll know that I've been learning how to sew, and I have a sewing machine that I got from my grandmother, passed down to me. It's like perfect working condition, and I also managed to find a serger at the thrift store. Serger is like a different kind of sewing machine, does slightly different function. So I found a serger at the thrift store, which needed a bit of work. It needed to be repaired. So yesterday I took my serger down to like a repair store. And I decided to take my sewing machine as well, because even though it's working perfectly fine, like it's working, it's perfect. Well, with a little bit of kinks as always, but like, there was one aspect of my sewing machine that wasn't quite working the way that I needed it to, in order to like sew like a buttonhole on pants or on like a shirt with buttons. Anyway, so I was like, okay, since I'm going to the shop anyway, I'll bring my sewing machine as well and see if they can help me with this like very small problem. It doesn't need a full repair or service, but maybe they can help me with this problem. So I dropped off the serger and then asked them about the sewing machine. They said, oh, well, the mechanic's not here. So like, just bring it back if it's when you pick up your other machine, and we can see if there's like something we can do then. So I was like, okay, that's fine. And I went back home with my sewing machine still with me in the car. And as I was driving, I guess I like braked a bit too suddenly. It was sitting on the floor in the front seat, like in the passenger seat. It was on the floor, but it tipped over when I braked. And it made a horrible noise. Like it was just like, ugh. Like those moments when you like feel like you messed up, or like if something's broken, or like just like feeling like that drop in your gut kind of energy. Like I feel like there's something like that for you, Aries, of like trying to avoid something like that from happening, like being very cautious, not wanting something to break or not wanting to make something worse is how it was coming through. So I had to, like the rest of the car ride, I was just like freaking out a little bit, like just because I was driving, I couldn't like stop. I was on the highway too, I couldn't stop and look at it. Anyways, I got home. It was perfectly fine. And not only that, but like something happened where it's like that little tiny thing that was not working properly is now working exactly as it should be, which is kind of coming through as being like, Aries, there may be something that you are avoiding because you don't want to make a situation worse. And perhaps there's an energy here of like, well, it's not broken, so maybe just stick with it, right? Like that kind of thing. Like it's working. There's nothing wrong with it. If you do something about it, maybe it'll make things worse. Or that there's like a fear of like the feeling of like a machine like knocking out, or like something breaking, right? Like just that feeling of like almost like dread. It might not be that intense for you, but it's kind of coming through like that of like not wanting to make things worse. And I feel like what's coming through with that message is actually like that energy of almost like it was coming through as like a jolt, like a shock to the system, or something like that is going to align things for you, is how it's coming through. Like, it's actually going to, like, fix the thing that is broken, so to speak. But I feel like the way that you're being asked to do this is something that's uncomfortable for you, or something like that. It's kind of like the shock that your system needs, is how it's feeling. Which I understand is a bit of an uncomfortable feeling. Yeah. Yeah, the tarantula. That's this feeling. This card talks about being at a crossroads, about choosing a divine path, is how it's coming through. This tarantula card also comes through with this energy of sort of like being in the spotlight, like being put on the spot to do something perhaps, or feeling like you have to make a decision. Sometimes I see this card as being sort of like a spider that has lost its web. So perhaps you are going through some sort of like important decision here, because there's been some aspect of your stability that is going through a shift or transition. It's like you have to rebuild your web. There might be something like that happening for you. There is a bit of fear and anxiety coming through with this card, especially because it's coming through with like red and yellow, which are root chakra, solar plexus, which can both come in with this feeling of like root chakra being your sense of security and belonging, and your solar plexus of like having to do something with confidence or willpower, determination, and all of that. And if there's anxiety, it can affect both of those chakras, right? That's how it's coming through. So maybe there's a decision or a choice or something like that that's causing a bit of stress or fear, or a bit of self-doubt, Aries, is how it's coming through. Normally I see Aries as a very like confident sign, but this is why it's coming through as being like whatever this shock to the system is, I feel like it's something that is going to like it's kind of coming through as being like a chiropractic alignment, that kind of thing. Like if like it is going to be the alignment that you need in order for something to progress forward. But I feel like there's a bit of like hesitation, because I feel like there is something like difficult that you're anticipating that's associated with whatever this action is. So it could be like something that is associated with fear, or with pain, or with anxiety, or with bad memories, is what I just heard. Bad memories, maybe. Yeah, the raccoon. Yeah, okay. Raccoon and panther. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so the raccoon talks about an inner artist that is reluctant to step into the light. And the panther talks about shadow work. It talks about shadow work, but I see this card as being like when the shadow gets activated, because there's a feeling of being unsafe, right? So that's all coming through your reading right now. There's and Stingray at the bottom of the deck, which talks about accepting radical change. There's something here that you are feeling reluctant to do because it is activating fear. It feels like, or it's a very important choice. You don't want to make things worse. Perhaps you're feeling put on the spot to do something, or someone's asking something of you that maybe you don't feel ready for, or the Panther might also, so this card is also coming through with fear, especially because it came out with the raccoon, right? Excuse me. Okay. Because it may be something like, especially if you're being asked to share something that is really important to you with the raccoon. Perhaps sharing of yourself or something that you care about, or like something that's like creative or something like that, right? You're being asked to share this aspect of yourself. Maybe there's this feeling. I was kind of getting like if you're being asked to share, like if you're at like a family gathering or something, and then, or like if you're in a group of new people, for example, and like you're visiting like a friend's family or a partner's family or something like that for the first time, and they're like, oh, Aries knows how to play the piano, or Aries is a great singer, and then they put you on the spot, right? That's how it's going through. Aries, why don't you sing for everybody? Like, it's kind of going through like that. And because it's kind of just like, with the raccoon and the panther, like, no, I would rather not do that. Like, it's kind of coming through like someone maybe a group or something is putting you on the spot, or maybe that's how you're feeling about, like sharing some sort of gift. And there's this fear here with the shadow coming, the shadow being activated, right? Interesting. There may be like a specific person sometimes, or if it's not a specific person, it's kind of like fear of judgment from a particular group of people, maybe, or particular group of people. Like fear of judgment, fear of like whatever it is that causes this raccoon to sort of withdraw. I feel like I want to read the panther. Maybe there's a little bit of like performance anxiety or something like that, Aries. Like, which is fine and normal. I feel like there's just something here about like feeling like put on the spot to like sing for everyone, you know? And it's awkward. Okay, hold on. Can't find the panther card. Annihilation of the unnecessary, purging. The panther won't stand to see our growth or energy stagnate. Instead, it pounces into our lives and causes all kind of havoc, with the ultimate intention of bringing us towards more fulfilling lives. It's unexpected, uncomfortable, and sometimes feels devastating, but after all the dust clears, it's easy to see the panther's wisdom at work. We've all been through these experiences, and they've made us better people. Trust that the panther's journey always leads to a brighter place. Yeah. Because it's kind of coming through as being like that example of like my sewing machine falling over in my car while I was driving, like a crash. It's that kind of energy. Like, so it could be feeling like, I feel like this is a fear though. It's a fear because everything turned out fine. It actually turned out better than I was expecting, where it actually fixed the problem. I feel like there's a fear. Fear might be too harsh of a word. A resistance, a hesitation, perhaps, about an anticipated reaction is how it's coming through. But I actually feel like that will help you, Aries. I know it doesn't feel like that. It's because if someone told me, oh, the best way to fix your sewing machine is just to knock it around a little bit, like that's not gonna help, right? That's how it's going through. It's not gonna help. I feel like there's an energy here of thinking that whatever it is that you're being put on the spot about is like, maybe it's not gonna help. It might though. It might though. I don't know. There's a little bit of like tongue-in-cheek energy here, because normally Aries is very confident, and like it's like if you have to do something, you'll do it. There's just something here about like perhaps it's something precious to you, right? You don't want to make things worse. You don't want to maybe there was a sort of like something from the past where like something broke, or like something fell apart in an uncomfortable way. It is a feeling of being put on the spot a little bit. Maybe there's a fear of being able to deliver, right? Like that kind of thing. Like, especially if it's like, maybe there's somebody sort of expecting something from you. Yeah, there's a bit of pressure here. And that might be activating your shadow, right? If it's kind of coming through as being like somebody's asking you to do something that you feel uncomfortable with, it's like it's making that energy worse. It's like making the shadow aspect worse, I should say. Sky, wind, and sun. That's a very positive card. Your essence is a service to the world, dear one. Your spirit overflows with joy and happiness, love, and wisdom. Do not hoard these energies for yourself. They are meant to be shared. Your essence enhances other people's lives by just being in their presence. There is nothing you have to do, and there is nothing you have to say. It is simply about sharing the energy that authentically radiates from your heart and from your spirit. Your energy is like a spark that activates inspiration and positivity in other people, and that is why you carry this medicine, because the world needs this gift, this radiant mirror you hold within you that transmits the message, I see you, I hear you, my power is your power, look at how powerful you are. Okay, Yeah, but I feel like you're feeling a bit shy to share your gifts, Aries. I wonder why that is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why, I guess. Feeling a bit shy to share your gifts. Because again, with like the feeling pressure to do something or to like give of yourself or something like that, it could be just this energy of like, you don't have to go overboard, right? It's kind of coming through like that. Like maybe there's something that you like really want to do, but like you want to give it your best, but I feel like it's kind of like, don't put extra pressure on yourself now. Like it's kind of just like, you just keep doing what you've been doing. Keep doing what you've been doing. Especially if you're like, there's this energy of like, maybe you're trying to impress someone. Well, because it's kind of coming through with like those stories of like in movies and things like that. I'm sure this happens in real life too, but like a star athlete, for example, who's like playing a game, like a basketball game, and then someone tells him, "Oh, by the way, there's a scout in the who's going to be watching you tonight," like that kind of thing. It's kind of coming through with like that little bit of added pressure. Aries. Maybe you're feeling that way. It's like, oh no. And it's just like, just take a deep breath. You've got this. I feel like there's something about it isn't any different than what you have already been doing. That's how it's coming through. It isn't any different than what it is you have already been doing, but there may be this energy here of like feeling like there's a scout watching. I better be like doing my best, like that kind of thing. Yeah, okay. Interesting. Fire, ancestor fire, and earth. So you have 46 and 16 as numbers. Shamans and tribal people grow up with strong connections to their ancestors. Western folk, not so much. It's a shame, really, because the ancestors are wonderful allies who have much to teach us. The ancestors provide support and encouragement and guidance, and they can make our journeys here on Earth so much easier for us. It is time to step closer to your ancestors. Take some time to learn about your bloodline. Catch yourself up to speed on your family history. Where are your people from? What lessons have you learned from your family? What gifts and talents have you inherited from your bloodline? What has your lineage sparked in you? What are you ready to burn away? This image is always so interesting to me because it looks like a flute or an instrument of some sort with like flames coming out of it. It is kind of coming through with this energy of reassurance for you. Like reassurance from your ancestors or from your lineage in some way. Something about like your... whatever it is that you are doing, it feels like very like... almost like destined. Like you don't have to worry about the outcome because it's already assured. That kind of thing. I know that seems very like... it seems almost cliche to be like, you have this in the bag, right? Like, it's kind of like that. But, maybe there's a little bit of, like, cockiness here that you're trying to avoid, right? Like, maybe you're trying to avoid feeling too confident because maybe that's what burned you in the past. Like, oh, I have this in the bag, and then you lost it, right? It could be something like that. Like trying to avoid being too confident. That's how it's coming through. Huh. Maybe there are particular family members who are like whose example you can connect with in whatever this is. Certain family members or ancestors or people that you look up to, because with the staff it is coming through with like somebody who has more authority in your lineage or something like that, who you're perhaps looking to for guidance. Or like what, like the best advice that a family member has ever given to you, for example. Doesn't it does, because it's coming through with ancestor, like perhaps somebody who's passed who gave you very good advice, and to like stand with that knowledge is how it's feeling. What would they say to you in order to like to like motivate you or uplift you. It does feel kind of a bit like a confidence energy here. You don't want to be too cocky is how it's going through. Difference between confidence and cocky, right? I feel like there's an energy there as well. Tarantulas. You have, so under the tarantula you have sky, snow, moon. Sky, snow, moon, and there's a cardinal there at the top. And crystals. You've been waiting for this opportunity, it feels like, Aries. It feels like you have been waiting for this opportunity, but now that it's here or approaching, there's a bit of like stage fright is how it's feeling to me. Have confidence in your gifts. It's not any different than what you have been doing already, is how it's coming through here. I feel like you would fight that statement, but that's what the message is that's coming through. Okay, so this card says, you know that expression, emotions are just energy in motion. It's true. They are temporary states of mood and weather and what have you that are simply passing through your vessel, soon to be replaced by new moods, new feelings, and new weather. Holding on to emotions creates stagnation in the body and in the spirit and dullness in our lives. When we obsess over our emotions, when we attempt to make sense of them with the mind by replaying the situations that inspired them over and over and over again, we are thinking incorrectly and we are thinking against ourselves. Get out of your head. Keep your feelings fluid and your mind open and clear. There is nothing to figure out. Your only task right now is to feel and allow and accept. Yeah, it kind of feels like there's this, I was just, replaying of fear is actually what I just heard. Like replaying even like scenarios of fear, like that maybe you have, perhaps replaying memories of the past that happened, like, oh, this happened in the past, so I shouldn't do that again. Or it could even be like replaying like what if scenarios that come from fear over and over again. It's because it is kind of coming through with this feeling of like I just want to like calm something down. Because there is this feeling of getting stuck in a loop that is tied to like a particular emotion of fear, it feels like, and judgment. With the stingray coming out, it is talking about embracing change, right? Embracing a radical change. Because it could be something where it's like, even something that you like, okay, so if we're just going back to that example of like, you're at like a friend's family house or something, and they ask you, Aries, can you please play a song for us, or can you sing for us? And maybe in the past you didn't do that. And maybe this is something that you actually really want to do, but you never did it because of that energy. Like, it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, you don't want to be put on the spot. But maybe there is something actually there where you actually want to do that now. Like, it's like, the next time somebody asks me if I want to sing, I'm going to do it, right? That's how it's coming through. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do it. And it's kind of like, But now, are you afraid to go to parties? That's how it's feeling. Like, it's like, okay, I've made this commitment that the next time I'm invited to sing in front of other people, I'm going to do it. But then you almost avoid going to parties. I'm not going to go to parties. I'm not going to go to that event where I know there's going to be singing. I'm not going to go to that because there's fear about the actual thing. So even though you've made the commitment, you're now avoiding the space where where you would have to actually do the thing that you committed to. That's how it's coming through. So it's coming through like that, Aries. There's something that you want to do, it feels like, but avoiding the energy that would require you to actually follow through with the thing that you want, if that makes sense. Okay, let's get a card for the Panther. Fire, tribal fire, and sun. I don't think that's a card for Panther. And it's another 6. So 4 and 6 are both coming through. I don't think that's a song for Panther. Or song. I don't think that's a card for Panther, but I'm going to read it. The fires are calling you to gather in ceremony. You are being asked to facilitate a meeting of hearts and minds and spirit. Gather your tribe together as one in nature so that you can honor the fire that lights our solar system, the fire that burns in the heart of the earth, as well as the fire that lives in the heart of all beings. Call together your nearest and dearest and prepare a ritual so that you can pray together and vision together, so that together you can amplify the creative power of your union and the sacred fire around which you are gathered. Yeah, it kind of feels like you're avoiding like a party, so to speak, right? Like the energy of like, next time someone asks me to sing, I'm gonna do it in front of all these people. But then you avoid all the people, right? You don't go near the parties. That's how it's feeling to me. But I feel like there is something here about like, you're meant to be doing something in front of a group or with a group, that kind of thing. Being a part of a community or a collective. To do something together, right? But maybe you're feeling very independent here, Aries, because I was kind of getting this energy of like Aries and Libra, right? Because those are opposites. So the last Libra reading, I'll link it above, might have information for you or might have a message for you, especially if your shadow is being activated. That could come through with like Libra energy as well. So there may be something about that. I feel like you are meant to be working in a group. But of course the Aries sort of energy is like focused on independence and self, right? So there could be something, especially with all the sixes here. Collaboration, harmony. Okay, can I get a card for the Panther? Okay, you have 3. So yeah, this card came out in the Libra reading, so I feel like it has something to do with that. It also talks about achievement. Like practice makes perfect is actually how it's coming through. Okay, then you have these 2 cards, spiritual. And then water, river, sun. So I'm not going to read this one because this one was in the Libra reading. And I feel like... Interesting. Yeah, I'm not going to read that one. But I'm going to read the other 2. I'm hearing something about exposure therapy. Okay. Interesting. Okay, because that was not what I was expecting. Because I feel like this energy, because this one talks about doing, achieving, trying new things, like keep doing, keep practicing. But this card, which is really interesting because these 2 numbers are mirrored, you have 62 and 26. So I'm going to read 26. It says, we live in such a hustle-bustle culture, constantly busying ourselves with striving, working, and achieving, thinking we always have to be doing something to get to where we want to be. But expansion doesn't always come through action. In fact, real growth and authentic expansion manifest in the spaces in between the doing. It's time for a time out. Give yourself a reprieve from trying and doing and hustling and achieving, and take some time to chill and replenish your own energy. Rest in the stillness of yourself and cultivate all that you have been working to become in this timeless pause. You'll be surprised to discover how much expansion you can embody once you stop trying. So maybe part of your shadow, Aries, is to be doing a lot of things, to like keep achieving, to like be busy, to be productive. And this spiritual card, which I'm going to read, there are 5 cards in this deck which represent the pillars of the human body. So spiritual is the 4th one. So it says, when you draw the spiritual pillar, you know the cards are speaking to you about your spiritual life. When I say spiritual life, I'm not just talking about crystals and meditation and ancestor altars, though let's not discount those either. Because yes, your spiritual life means cultivating mindfulness, expanding your awareness, and strengthening your shamanic skills through fire scrying, drumming, and making offerings to the spirits. This card is absolutely an invitation to connect with your guides, to clean your altar, cleanse your crystals, or to make offerings to your ancestors, or whatever other rituals that resonate with you. It doesn't have to be those ones specifically. Just connecting with your spirituality, whatever that is for you. But the spiritual pillar isn't just about your relationship with spirit as it relates to your own life. It's about sharing your spiritual gifts with the world. When you draw the spiritual pillar, you know that the spirits are encouraging you to expand your spirituality and your love for the planet and all creatures into the world at large. This card is like a nudge from your guides to connect with your soul tribe and to uplift your global community and raise the collective vibration of humanity with your being, your presence, your smile, your wisdom, and your every interaction. The spiritual pillar is asking you to look at how you are weaving your own divinity into the world. Yeah. I feel like there's because these cards are coming out all together, there's something here about like a spiritual practice that balances acting and not acting, right? Because there's something here about the achieving, the doing, the being active kind of energy here with this one, and then the allowing, the expansion that comes from rest, which is interesting. And it's coming through as being like a spiritual practice that comes from balancing those two things. Because maybe there's something where it's like you have a specific viewpoint about like what your spiritual practice is. So it could be like mindfulness or something like that. But so interesting. Is it that because I feel like there's something there about like maybe you associate spirituality with things like meditation or stillness or being quiet or being on your own or doing something independently or within yourself, right? Like art or like creativity. But I feel like maybe there's something here about, maybe there is something about the action that involves spirituality, right? A spiritual action that maybe is a bit more difficult here, because with the raccoon, it's kind of like, okay, there's something like, so if we go back to the singing example, singing for you may be like a very spiritual practice where you feel connected to your guides, you feel connected to the universe, that kind of thing. It activates a spiritual energy. Or it's something that you do independently, perhaps you sing when no one else is around. But I feel like there's something here about like the connection between these two, where it's like something where you feel very spiritual doing it on your own, but then sharing it with others is also a spiritual act, is how it's coming through. But maybe you're not seeing it that way. Like, achieving your goals is a spiritual act. Being successful and seeing other people see you be successful is also a spiritual act. That's how it's coming through. So maybe it's not that you are, well, because it's kind of coming through being like making money is not spiritual, right? I'm hesitating there because that's what we're told. You shouldn't chase after, well, you shouldn't, I don't think. I don't know. That's an opinion thing. But maybe there is something here about, like, there's something that you were told is not a spiritual act or something like that, but it is, in this case, in the context of what this is, because it feels like there's something here, Aries, where you are meant to be connecting with others, but you're not doing that because it goes against what it is that you've learned or what feels spiritual to you. What feels spiritual to you, because it's coming through with, like, you have a certain idea, like, spirituality is meditation and mindfulness and yoga and, like, being very quiet and still and connecting with nature, which it is. But I feel like there is also something else that you're being asked to do that is spiritual or part of your spirituality, or could be, but it doesn't fit into the tried and true ideas, perhaps. So you have two cards, water, lake, and sun. And then water, spring, moon. That's at the center. Okay, so I'm going to read this one. It says, water, spring, moon. There is a special essence that can only be found in the depths. By venturing beneath the surface and by braving the unknown that awaits us there, we cultivate an expanded sense of awareness that gives rise to new thoughts, fresh feelings, and profound understandings. These enhanced perceptions magnetize the essence of awakening, gifting us the ability to tap into new skills, extrasensory powers, and magic. You're emerging from the depths. Allow the energy of renewal to expand your perceptions and to heighten your sensitivities. You're awakening to your spiritual powers. New heights, greater expanses, and fresh magic are here for you now. Be still, move slowly, and allow yourself to integrate and to synthesize the divine treasures that you have gathered. Yeah, it feels like you are having some sort of, like, new gift that's being awakened, Aries. Like, but that's the thing. I feel like you don't see it like that, because it's kind of like, it feels like a spiritual gift of yours, but you don't see it that way, because maybe it has something to do with material, like the material world, in some way. But it might be that you're not pursuing it as you should be, because it doesn't feel spiritual to you. That's how it's coming through. But it is kind of feeling like there's, like, it's wanting to include this aspect as well as being part of your spirituality. Yeah, I'm also going to read this one just before we end this reading, because it has such an interesting image. So water, lake, sun. You have been doing your inner work. Bravo on your courage, your compassion, and your willingness to sit in silence and stillness with yourself. You have made great strides in your heart healing and your soul talk, as well as your spiritual development. There is a new light shining within you, a light that is powerful and magnetic while still soft and humble. Cast this light upon others as a way of inviting new conversations, new meetings, and new relationships. The simplicity of human interaction shared beneath the glow of this heart light emanating from you now promises profound connections and life-changing experiences for everyone in your sphere. Yeah. I feel like you are being called to choose something, right? With this tarantula, it comes through with like choosing life's purpose, something that is part of your life's purpose, but it feels kind of like it has something to do with like achievement or achieving your goals, or perhaps something material as well, like something that you'll create in the material world, for example. But I feel like there's a bit of a disconnect between like what you believe to be a spiritual calling or a spiritual path, because it doesn't fit into like the traditional like meditation, mindfulness, like that kind of sphere. It feels like it doesn't fit into that. Doesn't mean it's not spiritual. Doesn't mean it's not a divine path for you. But it's kind of just like feeling like embracing or exploring this new connection, because it does feel like it creates a connection between you and spirit, or between you and others, right? It feels like that. It's creating a connection. And I feel like this connection is spiritual. It just may not seem like that on the surface. So, I'm going to leave it there, Aries. If this reading resonated with you, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. It helps so much. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.